basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast.
NBA, some college, a little bit of everything.
You know, what can I say? But it wasn't going to happen here with him.
Okay, it is the holiday edition. Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay, Zoom and Pod, thanks for joining us. We hope you had a great holiday. We wish you the best in the coming new year. We are brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. That's right, FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Networks. Score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Okay, Bob, I want to go back to the Celtics-Lakers game. Okay, it's Christmas Day, and I know how you feel about games on Christmas. You're not a fan, correct? That has not changed.
That's correct.
Okay, so we know that. But they had 5 games, and I'm sure the ratings were great. And they were all good games. The Knicks game was a good game to watch. But the Celtics-Lakers game, to me, while the Lakers are not what they once were, and LeBron and Anthony Davis, they don't have a supporting cast, I still thought it was a statement made by the Celtics to go into their house and win that game.
Well, I think coming out of the way the trip started with a disappointing, not humiliating, but a disappointing loss at Golden State in overtime, a game that was within their grasp and that they should have held on to and won. Okay, we know that. Then they go and they blow out 2 successive blowouts over a team that I think can be good, and that's Sacramento, and a team that was playing very well at the time, which was the Clippers, and ranging up 144 and 145 against those two. Yeah, it was a ballyhooed game. Everybody knows what's at stake, and LeBron was coming off a great game, and yeah, they rose to the occasion, and with one of the great box scores in their history. 5 guys 18 or more. That's very rare. I just as an aside, I've covered. I don't know how many others have been doing this. 54 years since I first covered an NBA game, but I've covered 2 and only 2 games in all those years in which all 5 starters of a team had 20 points. And the Celtics did it against the Bullets in the early 70s. I'm trying to look that game up just for the hell of it now. And the Suns did it against the Lakers in the '84 Western Conference Finals. And that's very rare. They came close to having that incredible achievement. But anyway, it was a wonderful game. And you said statement. I can't dispute that. I think it. Well, let's see how they build off that. And as we speak, by the way, they haven't thrown the ball up yet in the confrontation with the record-breaking Pistons.
Right.
And this game scares the bleep out of me. Just because. 2 reasons. One, Pistons got to win sometime. They got to win sometime. Kate Cunningham's going for a 41-point game. They got to win sometime. And B, history is not kind to teams, the Celtic teams in my experience, coming off the first game of a major road trip. They've had some bad
right.
And so the counterbalance to that is that what has happened as the Pistons are experiencing any team, they find every team is bringing their A game against them because nobody wants to lose to them.
And if people aren't aware, it's like 27 in a row now.
27.
27 at the time of our taping, 27 in a row.
And the 28 is the overlap record of the Sixers, in which they ended a season and then started the next season with the streak intact. And that's the record of 28 and 27. And they're going for, so they if all well runs out, they'll have the record to themselves by Sunday morning. But anyway, this game, I don't want to play them right now. I don't want to play them. I don't. But Celtics, if history is true, they will bring their A game because they don't want. I'll just go a quick anecdote. The 76ers in 1972-73 won 9 games. The Boston Celtics in 1972-73 won 68 games. And late in the season, they came into Boston for a Sunday afternoon game. And at the end of the third quarter, the Sixers were winning. And that's the days of the 4 jump balls. We didn't have gone to the halftime
Right.
that I had to do. And the looks on Celtics faces, the start of the fourth quarter. Well, they kicked it into gear and they won going away. And I remember talking to Paul Silas after that game. And he said all he could think about as they were ready to throw that ball up in the fourth quarter was the morning paper headlines. 76ers beat Celtics. And he did not want to see that.
No.
And they came through. I'll never always remember that. But this is what happens. Teams, nobody wants to lose to them. I mean, so they're getting A games from everybody.
Right. And it's kind of crazy, but you're right, because you don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be the
But
guy.
they're going to win sometime.
Yeah.
They're not going 2-80.
Now, you mentioned the overtime situation with the Celtics. Celtics are 0-3 in overtime, so they could have only 3 losses.
Yeah, they give them 2. Well, you can give them 2 out of 3. It'd be nice. Yeah, they could. No,
it's crazy though, because Bob, like, well, it's part of our job to critique the Celtics and look for holes in their arsenal. They're 23-6. They're number 1 in the NBA. And right now, I mean, if they stay healthy, they're amazing.
At the moment, we can only nitpick.
Big time.
That's all we can do legitimately now is nitpick because, there's a history. Every team's got its dynamics and its history. And the history of this team is, the recent history in this group is that they have knocked on the door, but they haven't opened it yet.
Kicked it in. Yeah.
And the thing about that I want to stress with this is that this is a now team. This is a now. Now we've alluded to this earlier in the season, but just so people understand, this team is constructed to win NOW. They've got their 2 best players are in the absolute prime of their athletic lives in mid-20s, from 25 to 30. Basically, is the prime of almost anybody in any sport. And that's where they are. Tatum and Brown. Porzingis is 28. The guards are older, but not too old, and they got 2 youngish guys. But even their young guys aren't young anymore, and they don't have any rookies on playing at any. They don't have any. The youngest guy who plays regularly that matters is Pritchard, 24. And look at some of the teams around the league that it's like the Pistons themselves who are young. The Thunder who are still young. That this is it. This construction is complete in a sense. Now we all agree it'd be nice to get one more piece of the puzzle. The PJ Brown of 2024. If he's walking down the street, I hope they can find him. And
Paul Pierce out after.
Yeah, in the cab. So
yeah, PJ. Hey, let's make a deal.
So
I want to.
There's not. The construction is there. It's done. They got to just perform.
Bob, I want to throw some modern day statistics at you from Adam Himmelsbach, who has continued the fine tradition of the Celtics following the Celtics beat for the Boston Globe. Derrick White, who I know you are a big fan of, and we're going to talk about him at length here. The Celtics are 11.6 points better per 100 possessions when White is in the lineup. That's 8 points better than Drew Holiday. 11.6 better per 100. Now, this is an amazing number when you look at the roster.
Amazing. That blows me away. Generally, I'm just happy with the eye test, and what I've seen this guy do at both ends of the floor. How about this block thing he's got going on? Blocking shots, at 2 a game for multiple games is extraordinary for a guard. Which reminds me, by the way, I'm sorry, but I can't read one of my favorite stats that ever came out of the finals. In 1979, Dennis Johnson, starting for the Seattle Supersonics, blocked 14 shots in 6 games of the finals out of the guard position. Anyway, this is another guard doing that. What doesn't this guy do for you?
I know.
He's like a handy butler. I mean, whatever you need, whatever you want.
Swiss Army knife.
My God, he's and we're going to get to whether or not he can and should be in the All-Star game. But but
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the All-Star game, Bob, right now is if you take a look, 50% voting by the fans, 25% by the players, right? And 25% by the media. Now, he's going to get the player and media vote, I think. And will he get the fan vote? Now, I do think there is starting to be a groundswell of people are getting behind this guy. So, because people in Boston obviously know, other players are going to vote for him. We know that. Other players are going to vote for him. Some media members are going to vote for him. But I think just now, some of the fans are starting to see it.
There's a big problem that I don't think is going to be overcome.
What's that?
Competition.
Well, there's that.
East is loaded. Are you ready? I got.
Yeah, go ahead. Lay it on me.
Armed. I come armed. I come bearing stats. Okay. Tell me how you deny Tyrese Halliburton. He's in.
Oh,
he's in. He is averaging 24.8, shooting 50, 3 points, 42-1, and also, oh, by the way, 12 assists a game.
Oh, yeah, he could. He could start.
How do you deny Tyrese Maxey? You're not. 26 points a game, 45% shooting, 41% threes.
Okay, let's go guy by guy. Okay?
I'm going.
Let's go guy by guy. I'm going to make a case for White over Maxey. Blocking shots, the way he doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have 26 points per game. Blocking. You just mentioned all of it. Halliburton, not a shot. Maxey, I can make a case. I think. Go ahead.
Okay. Jalen Brunson has to be in the game.
He's in.
Has to be it. He's averaging 26. He's shooting 45% threes and 5.9 assists. All right. Lillard's going to be in the game. Period.
Yeah, he gets it.
Lillard's going to be in the game.
I mean,
he's averaging 25.7, shooting 43.5, 3.75 on threes, and almost 7 assists a game. He's going to be in the game. Those guys, those two are absolutely positive. Those three are positively, absolutely going to be on the team. Halliburton, Brunson, and Lillard.
I can make a case for Maxey. Your Honor, Mr. Ryan.
All right.
I just mentioned it. 11.6 points per 100 possessions. You just talked about how White makes the Celtics better. I think he does more for the Celtics than Maxey does for the Sixers. That's the only argument I got.
And there's one other guy that's going to be very tough to deny, and that is Trae Young.
Oh, I'd still give it to White, but I'm biased. I will admit I'm biased.
You're not going to win that one. Look, listen to this: 28 points a game, 11.3 assists a game, 43, 38.5 3-point. He's in the game. He's a star.
I know. I'm being a homer.
I know.
I'm being a homer.
There's 4 musts. How's he going to get in?
Yeah, I know. I'd still put him in over Maxey.
We would love to have him in over somebody, but it's not going to happen. And then there are a couple other guys who make a case. There'll be a strong case made by Cleveland for Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging 27 a game in case when you weren't looking, and even Garland, but he's averaging 20. It won't be Garland. Okay, and the other that's Cam Thomas. They'll make a pitch. He's averaging 23 a game for the Nets. Okay, but neither of us would even think about that. But I'm just saying. It ain't going to happen. I feel bad because it should happen. You're right. His contribution at both ends of the floor, the glue he represents for the Celtics. Who knew when I keep going back for the 10 millionth time? How do we get him? How do we get him?
I know.
God Almighty!
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you got your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. I got another stat for you. This is a good one. Again, from Mr. Himmelsbach. Tatum had 4 of the 6 Celtics screen assists
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in the Laker game. I love that stat. That's a great stat, Bob.
But they've come up with that in pass assists too, you could call it assist. He's setting screens. Great. I know it's great. I'm
But here's the point: how many guys like Tatum, the number one scorer, is setting screens? That doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. No. Michael Jordan didn't set screens. LeBron didn't set screens. Larry didn't set screens. They screened for Larry. And no, this is part of Tatum maturation that we've identified is having a fine year, and that's very impressive. Yeah, whoever you want to label it, screen assists. I love it. They're getting very creative in the analytics department of the Celtics, aren't they? They're earning their money between pass assists. Now that's an interesting one. I want to talk about that for a minute because we had some discussion about that in my circle of friends about the pass assist. Dan Shaughnessy had some fun mocking, the thing. But the thing is that I have said for years that there ought to be a accreditation for a pass that leads to a guy who gets fouled at shooting the layup and then makes the 2 free throws, and you get no credit for that, no statistical credit,
right.
None at all. And then of course you do get credit for making a routine pass over to your buddy to shoot a 3 or a little bit inside out, and you got about as much to do with that as you 2 of us do sitting here, big deal. And yet you get credit for that, but you don't get credit for the guy that makes the 2 free throws after you gave him a beautiful pass. And so, the statistics, that's why you got to be very wary of statistics and why analytics have filled in a lot of gaps. You can get carried away with them naturally. We know that. And baseball being exhibit A, but you can get carried away with this stuff. But they've helped, But I'm telling you, in the old days, Gar, and the Bob Cousy, I always say an assist is something that Tricky Dick McGuire would acknowledge. And you only got an assist in 1951 or 56 if the guy made a layup, period. So when you look at the numbers of the Cousies and the Tricky Dick McGuires and the Slater Martins on the Bobby Davies of the 50s, and if they're averaging 7 assists a game, they're all layups. And
right.
the current assist leaders are getting credit for 3-pointers and almost threes and 17-footers and that were denied those old guys. So that's why you got to be careful with the stats.
Well, I mean, who had better court vision than Bob Cousy? Oscar Robertson, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird?
No. Coos, he's the kosher godfather of all. He's the godfather of all point guards. He's the godfather. He is the ultimate godfather.
And point forwards.
Yeah. Well, that phrase, the greatest point forward was Larry.
Yeah.
And frankly, and they tried to call Pressey. The Bucks were making a case for Pressey. Larry destroyed Pressey.
Oh, no, it's not even close.
He just posted him up and said, "Oh, you really come over here? I'll take a turnaround jumper or I'll go to the foul line. Thank you very much." No, that was ridiculous. The closest thing to Larry, or the most Larry-like player, I'll put it that way. That it's worth discussing that there's a link. Is Doncic.
What about Dirk?
No, Dirk was more. Doncic's a passer too. Dirk expanded the range for all 7-footers, no question. Dirk's a pivotal player, but he ain't Larry. Different. He's different. He and Larry would be great together. Oh my God, But Doncic and Larry, Doncic he's got the ball all the time, which Larry never did. But still, the way he moves and some of the stuff he does reminds me of as much as anyone ever has of things about Larry. He's Larry-like in certain ways. But the big difference is, of course, he has the ball, and Larry remains the guy. This will be the truth for eternity. No one will ever come along to get more done with the ball in his hands less than Larry Bird. I don't see how
moving without the ball. He was the best.
Well, not only that, but anticipation.
Yeah.
Knowing what to do with it, with the touch pass immediately, with the and the assist totals he racked up with the infrequent times he had the ball compared to what all other assist guys, starting with LeBron, who is no longer a forward. He's just a positionless queen of the chessboard without question. But when he was before he had the ball all the time, he was a forward, and those were the two best forwards of all time. Right now, I'd still put him as the two starting forwards, except LeBron has morphed into something different.
Yeah, exactly. Positionless
He's got it all the time. Got the ball.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's before we leave this, what is your favorite Celtic-Laker rivalry or year or matchup?
Oh, that's very, very, very interesting. The 84 finals provided us with so much fodder because it was anticipated. It was 5 years in before Larry and Magic finally had a direct confrontation. And a lot had happened for both of them at that point. Larry won. Magic beat him to it. Magic one-upped them in 1980.
Yep.
Larry was Rookie of the Year, but Magic got the ring. And he got the ring because he played what remains 43 years later as a handful of greatest individual games ever played in the history of this league.
No question.
It's one of the worst top 5 games any individual has ever played in the 8-year history now of the NBA.
As a rookie.
As a 20-year-old, that performance in Philadelphia, 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, playing all 5 positions, and absolutely dominating the game with Kareem sitting home watching with his injury that he sustained, and every one of us knowing going into that game, we're going back to LA for Game 7. I am not lying when you say, Gary, I've told you this before. It's the gospel truth. The big chatter among we media people was where we're going to go to dinner in LA on Saturday night.
Oh,
because it's Friday night in Philly, and the Sixers are going to lose, and we're going back to. The Lakers are going to lose,
right?
And we're going back to LA for Game 7. Well, okay. Anyway, so that's it. Larry gets his championship in '81, including a game on February 11th, 1981. The Celtics roll into LA, having played a really tough game the night before in Seattle, and having lost Tiny Archibald, who got hurt. And they arrive at 3 p.m. for a 7:30 game with travel problems. You always have trouble. You often have troubles in the West the whole winter with fog from Seattle to San Diego. The big thing is you may get fogged in, and we had trouble getting out of Seattle. So it's like a hopeless game, you figure, right? Larry goes over to Magic. Magic was hurt. He didn't play. Larry goes over to him for the game and says, "Sit back, Irvin, and enjoy the show."
Now, this is before they did the Converse commercial, right?
Yes. Sit back, Irvin, and enjoy the show. Larry goes for 36 and 21, and about 5 or 6 assists, and the icing on the old cake. He stopped a couple of 3-on-1s all by himself. People, he broke up a couple of 3-on-1s. They win the game, and it's one of his my 5 favorite Larry games ever. Naturally, All right. But anyway, now we're up to 84, and the Lakers win in 82, and now they're up 2-1. They lose in 83 to the Sixers, the great one-year Sixer team,
right.
Moses Malone, his greatest year. And now we're in 84. So all the build up in the ballyhoo and the way that series unfolded, the Lakers bury them in Boston Game 1, and the Celtics and only pull out Game 2 with Gerald Henderson makes the great steal that saved the game, and they're going to go down 2-0 going home.
Right.
They get destroyed in Game 3 at home. Out there, and Larry. That's when Larry came up with the "We need 12 heart transplants," and we played like sissies, quote unquote. And Game 4 is one of the great playoff games I ever saw. Double overtime. Larry comes up big with 29 and 21. Robert has a big game, and Magic dribbles the ball wrong out the clock. Magic screwed up, and earning his nickname of Tragic Johnson from Max. And of course, that was the McHale takedown game.
Yes.
Which today, of course, he would have been incarcerated. No, all it was a common foul.
I know.
It was a common foul. So, and Game 5 is the Heat game.
Right.
Game 5 is the Heat game. 97 degrees Fahrenheit inside the building. Lakers want to go home. Kareem, they got portable oxygen. ML's walking up and down, waving the little mini electric flag of a fan, And Larry, in the heat of the 97-degree game, Larry goes for 36 and 17 and shoots 15 for 20.
Well, you were there, Bob. How hot? I mean, just give us how.
It was the strangest night of all the nights in all the sports, which includes boxing, which includes, that I've ever been to in that building, in that old building, starting in my first visit in October 17th, 1964. It was the strangest night ever because it was so hot in there, and never have so many people worn so little clothing in the garden. Guys are in shorts, women are in halter tops. It was t-shirts. It was, and the crowd made it a positive. It
Right.
was a great crowd, and they were the Celtics really were their sixth man that night, and they just spooked the Lakers that night, just completely. And Larry, but how symbolic! Larry Bird goes 97 degrees. Larry goes for 36 and 17 and 15 for 20 from the floor. So this is, and then the back up, and then game 6, the Lakers kick their ass again, come home, and game 7, Celtics win. And you know who turned the game around? Danny Ainge. Now Max started them off. Great, Max. That's the jump on my back, boys. Game.
Right.
Max had the 24 points against Worthy. He dumped but who came off the bench and sparked a second quarter, run off of which they lived for the rest of the game? Danny. People forget that because it's rightfully it should be remembered as a Max game. Yes, it's true. But
Right.
But Danny was the major supporting. He got best supporting actor that night. I'll tell you that. And Larry was MVP in the series, but of course, but anyway, 84, there was so much drama and the Lakers complaining. They said that, the hotel, there were fire alarms, they said, and all
right.
this bullshit, and Riley it was theater and it was just great stuff.
Well, the fire alarms, there's no doubt the fans were setting up fire alarms. I mean, of course, that's a reasonable. I don't think, here's the thing. Red was so good with that stuff. He didn't have to do anything.
No.
He didn't have to do it. He just let people talk about it.
Red loved the idea. This is like Gaylord Perry in the Spitball.
Right.
He wanted people to think he was doing it to drive him crazy. And Red didn't mind having the other teams, anything that would throw them off that wasn't illegal,
Right.
criminal, Red was, and he would be okay with it, the rivalry was, and then of course, the next year they get their comeuppance. Kareem has this supreme moment, beating the Celtics, and then for the first time they ever lost to the Lakers, and first time they lost a finals series at home. They had lost. I'm sorry, they lost to the Knicks in '73. That wasn't the finals though. That was the conference finals.
Right, but that one still hurt, boy.
Oh yeah, but that was Kareem's great. He was 38.
And it was great. '86 was wonderful, but they beat the Rockets.
Yeah,
it just which is fine.
It would have been that would have completed it. I still think it's the greatest team of all time. But yeah, it would have been nice to have won at the Lakers' expense. So but I would have to go the whole drama from start to finish of '84. There was so many seminal, memorable moments.
I mean, the thing that's amazing with those two teams, if you just break down the rosters, the talent, unbelievable. I mean,
look, you got the Celtics. They got 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 Halls of Famers on the Celtics, and then a veteran All-Star in Wedman, and then you've got the Lakers. You've got Kareem and Magic and Worthy. That's 3
Michael Cooper.
Michael Cooper, who is on the ballot, and
right,
I wouldn't have a problem. As great defensively as he was, and he was a clutch 3-point shooter. He's on the ballot. I wonder if I would have voted if I were. I'm not voting this year, but if I would have voted, I don't know. But anyway, it was, and of course Wiley was a seminal figure in NBA history, and it was just terrific. It was good stuff, and it was a great decade for the NBA, and in general terms. But so it was that.
Now I have to move on. Let's get into the current times, Bob, where you and
Yes.
I are both scratching our heads in regard to the Dallas Mavericks. Now, let me set the stage here, so in case people haven't followed this, but Mark Cuban, we all know, is a very smart man. Got involved with radio streaming, became a billionaire, just knows what he's doing when it comes to making money, and quite frankly, turned the Dallas Mavericks around and they won an NBA title.
Right.
So recently, he just sold the majority stake of the Dallas Mavericks. So he sold that to the Adelson and Dumont families, which own the Las Vegas Sands Corp, for $3.5 billion. Cuban has 27% stake and will control basketball operations. Okay. Now, the way Cuban sees it, and he's right, media rights are dropping. Media rights are dropping especially for local television contracts. Streaming has changed everything. So he sees the future of being in connection with gambling, and we can't argue with that. I mean, you have to look around. FanDuel is our sponsor. I mean, it's just the way of the world. So he feels to get going to business with a gambling family or a casino family, I should say, very successful one, is the way to go. And it's not legal in Texas yet.
No,
but at some point it will be.
Apparently, he's got a dream about building I read only this morning. He's got a dream about building an arena, because a new one. Theirs must be 25 years old. It's
God.
A new arena, and the whole complex. A gambling complex. Oh, he's smart. It's a savvy business move, and not to mention, I mean, we can relate to billionaires in terms of what that actually means in their daily lives of spending and what they can do and can't do. But he's enriching himself even more. And, for his heirs, I trust. Oh, my God, it's hard to imagine, because he's making a killing out of this. You think of whatever it is he paid. Oh, my God, that was 20 years ago. Oh, my God. But gambling, there's no turn back here. All sports have decided that this is the way to go, and we every sport is involved, and so that's where we are.
I'm Christmas Eve. My neighbor's over. We're talking. We got sports on and stuff. We're talking about different teams, and he's got his phone. He's got FanDuel on the phone, doing his thing.
Yeah.
$25 here, $25 here, $35 here. It's the way of the world. I don't think the integrity. I don't know. I don't know. Do you think the integrity of the game will be hurt?
Well, I think the one basic layman theory is that you're safer with the government, with everything being legal, than you were when it was illegal.
Right.
And so. But does that mean that we're out of the woods with regard to possible bribery and to possible dumping and possible guys, and especially when they're already making so much money, now that you say, well, who? Now the vulnerable place has been 3 different times in our history or more, college, and now, but even now that's less likely in the world of NIL than it once was. That's changed. Maybe that's going to be the strange byproduct, the positive unintended consequence of the NIL will be to reduce severely the chances that some kid's going to take a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 from some bookie to throw a game, which has happened as far back as 1946. We know about it here in Boston. BC knows about it, and then it caused a major scandal in 1951 and also in 1961, and. But it's less likely, you would think, if gambling is, with the NIL and the money that the kids can make.
But basically, you're talking about a casino owns a professional sports team.
Right. Oh, I mean, remember the days that, guys couldn't, Willie Mays wanted to be a greeter.
Yeah, he couldn't do it.
Couldn't do
Alex
it.
Harris got in trouble.
When I'll go back when Rogers Hornsby was at the peak of his career in the 20s, the greatest right-hand hitter in history, and he was forced to sell his interest in a racetrack, just an interest, because you couldn't do it, it couldn't be associated with gambling. Neil DeRocher was suspended for the entire 1947 season as manager of the Dodgers because he was, you ready for this? Consorting with gamblers. Okay, so this is where we come from. We're long past that, ladies and gentlemen.
We are, because basically you have a casino company now that owns an NBA franchise.
Which brings me to Pete Rose. I know this is a basketball podcast, but I'm sure Pete Rose played a lot of high school basketball. I wouldn't be surprised. So anyway, Pete Rose, I have said, basically said, keep him out. He keep him out because he bet on his own, and he did bet on his own team, not the other team. But still, that's not a good thing either. Now I say I'll pick him up at the airport, drive him right to Cooperstown,
right?
Because there's the baseball has forfeited the high moral ground. They forfeited. You can't justify any longer the idea that what he did is so out of step with where they are now. So I'm put me down. I'll put Pete in it. All right, I'm off the soapbox.
Robert, as we leave, do you have any New Year's predictions or resolutions or any thoughts?
Well, I think the NBA, if it's the NBA, the Celtics are in the mix. I think we both agree they got to prove to us that they're going to keep their composure and do the thing, hold up emotionally in the playoffs because they have enough talent. So I'm not going to. I can't predict. I don't like it, but do that.
So just you don't have to predict or something you want to see or something.
Of course I want to see the 18th banner. I'd get hoisted in opening day next year. That'd be fine. Yeah, and I think these people deserve it. I think this has been a good ownership group. I really do, and I think they deserve it. Their hearts have been in the right place. I think for the most part, and I think that they put a lot into it, and in the right way, and I think they deserve another championship. So anyway, that's other than that. No, I'm just one thing I always hope, like to see BC get relevant again. And they are better this year in basketball. By the way, they're better. They're not. I don't know. We'll see how the league goes, but I'd like to see that. That's always something that matters to me.
Well, maybe you have to pull back on those donations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Bob Ryan. That's it. Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay here, brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Okay, Robert, we'll talk to you again soon.